Round 4 of the Canadian Open was an interesting game to say the least. I got paired down for the third time this round yet again, which was quite disappointing as that sort of thing messes up my performance rating and whatnot. So, things happen. But as for the game itself, this recap will actually be shorter than some of the other ones, as there's not too many interesting things that went on this game. I mean, I hope it's not too much of a spoiler to say that I won this game quite effortlessly, just based on the ratings, but we'll go through the game nonetheless. So I went with d4 here, as I've done in my previous white game. And he played the NImzo, which is a quite solid option. But the issue is that we got into what I like to call the Autowin variation of the f3 NImzo, where he goes d5, a3 takes, and the way for black to cleanly equalize here is there's some theory following c5, and after cd5, knight d5, you actually take the pawn on c5. And with e4 coming next, black has counterplay. You can either go queen a5 or f5 here, and these are well-known lines. But a common inaccuracy that people tend to go for is when they castle too early, because now you can no longer take with the knight, you have to take with the pawn. And then white just gets a very solid structure where he has a very easy plan of just going bishop d3, knight e2, and after you castle, you can go like knight g3. And rook e1, let's say, to prepare the e4 break. And if the e4 break comes successfully, then oftentimes white will just be like completely winning. It's really that simple. Now there are ways for black to get some counterplay and some other independent tries, but for the most part, these lines are known to be quite good for white. He plays a very very unambitious setup. He didn't really seem to know the critical ways to fight the system. So after b6, bishop d3. Black should just play bishop a6 here. That's his best line after b6, because you want to trade off one of white's best attacking pieces here. But instead he goes bishop b7, and now this is a big problem because the bishop is stuck behind this diagonal, and the only way for black to activate it is eventually playing bishop a6 at some point. Other than that, all it really does is it delays the inevitable e4 break, which will come sooner rather than later. So after rook e8, I castled, knight d7, knight g3, and he finally goes c5, but it's far too little too late, and I just get my standard moves here to prepare the e4 break, and once e4 comes, black will be in a world of hurt. So I started with a thematic move, rook to a2. It's a nice rook lift on the second rank. It can either go to f2 or to e2, depending on what black plays. So he goes c4, which is a big mistake. Black's position was already suspect at best, but this kind of just put the nail in the coffin, because now he no longer has any pressure on the center, and after I draw my bishop back to b1, I simply go rook to e2 next, and there's nothing you can do about the e4 break. So he just allows it, and then I crash through. And the rest of the game wasn't anything special. I can go through it a little quicker here. I just go f4. There's a lot of ways to convert this. You can either do it how I did it and just push your pawns all the way up the board, or you can play it with your pieces and attack the king with moves like knight f5, queen e1, queen g3, and so on. Maybe even a rook lift, rook f3 to g3 or to h3. But I decided to go for this plan, which is of course completely fine. He goes f6 here, e6, and then I sort of just, I have all the time in the world to improve my pieces, and that's exactly what I did. There's just nothing that black can do to stop getting mated. Otherwise, he just has to lose material. So I go rook h4, bishop f4, queen c1 with the not so subtle threat of bishop takes h6, because let's say black plays nothing as he did in the game. He just makes a waiting move. Bishop h6, if you were to take, then following queen h6, knight h7, there is queen f8 mate, or rook h7, there's also queen takes f8 with mate. So he actually saw this and defended, and I just dropped my bishop back. It's the simplest move. And then I go queen f1. I'm just intending queen f3 with queen h5. mate to follow, so he has to do something about it. But I mean, this is all just gone. And here there's a mate in 4 if I just take on f6, I believe, but I did it like this instead with e6, and then I take on h4, and I take on g7, and after knight h5 he resigns in view of some queen takes f6 with mate to follow. So yeah, this game was just, you know, my opponent didn't seem very experienced, but I mean, that's how late tournaments go. You have to play some lower rated players, and I just hope that for the future rounds that I'll get a bit more of a challenge regardless of my opponent's rating, because you know, these things happen. So that's about it. There is one round tomorrow. I'm currently at 3 out of 4 points, and I hope to make it 4 to 5 tomorrow. So see you guys then.